Welcome back to Michigan Marksman. Today on the channel we're going to be testing out some more shotgun chokes. Today on the channel we got the KelTec KSG 12. It has a defender brake on there where you can thread in some chokes. So we're going to be shooting a number 8 target load. Obviously the KSG 12 is a 12 gauge, so that's the round we're going to be using. And we're going to be using some different size chokes at 5 yards to see what the spread pattern looks like out of this 18-inch barrel. Let's go take a look at the ammo and the first choke we have. Let's get blasting. Alright, so this is the ammo we're going to be using today. 12 gauge, number 8 shot, just your typical size. Target loads, and here's our chokes today. First off, we're going to start with no choke just to get a baseline. And we'll be starting off with this .725 choke. Oh, it's a .075 reduction. So let's do the no choke first, and then we're going to put this choke in to see what type of pattern we got. Alright, up first is no choke in the barrel. Let's see what our spread pattern is with no choke at 5 yards. Let's take a shot. Alright, let's go take a look at that as a baseline. Alright, as you can see, this is the pattern with no choke at 5 yards. It's actually really nice. It's probably tighter than the Stoger, it seems like. It definitely is not, because that one was about 12 inches in diameter. This is a little less, I think maybe 10 or so. But pretty impressive. Let's put in the first choke. As I was saying earlier, here's the first choke, a .725. Let's see how well this reduces the spread. So we got the next choke in. So a typical shotgun barrel is a .73 inner diameter. This choke is a .725, so a .075 reduction. Let's take a shot at 5 yards and see what pattern we got. Alright, as you can see here, here's no choke up here. And then here's the .075 reduction. It's a little bit smaller, barely noticeable though. Obviously, at this distance with the Stoger, we noticed that most of the chokes were appearing about the same size. So we're going to continue and seeing if that is the same case with the KelTec. So let's get to the next choke. Alright, here's the next choke, a .715. That is a .085 reduction in that inner barrel diameter. Let's put this in the gun and see what type of pattern we get. Alright, we got the next choke in here. It's a .715, so a .08 reduction. Let's see what type of spread pattern we get. Alright, it looks like a little bit more of a reduction. Let's go take a look. Okay, so I overlapped a little bit more than I wanted to, but you can definitely see where that choke pattern is tight here versus the no choke. We're obviously getting another very significant drop off in choke size. If you look down here compared to like this, that's only a very, very small difference. So I'm kind of amazed already that we're getting that much reduction. Let's step it down to the next choke. Alright, so here's the next choke. It's a .7 full Remington choke. So let's put it in our KelTec to see how much more of a reduction in pattern we get. Alright, we got our next choke in the gun. It's a .7, so a .03 reduction. So let's take a shot down there and see how well we've patterned. Alright, here's our .7 shot. That is significantly tighter than the ones directly above it. I'm kind of impressed already that the KelTec is reducing, well, the chokes in the KelTec is reducing that well. I was expecting like a flat line after this one down here, where we're getting more into the 0.7s and the 0.6s, where it just, is about the same. So let's throw in the next choke and see what we got. So here's the next choke. It's an extra full, a 0.69. Nice choke. We're gonna throw it in the KelTec and see what type of pattern we get. Alright, we got the next choke in there, which is a 0.69. So we're going to take a shot with that. That is a 0.04 reduction in spread. Let's see how well it reduces. Alright, this is the 0.69. That is a very amazing spread reduction, honestly. We really weren't getting that great of a spread reduction with the Stoeger M3000, so I'm actually kind of impressed with this chokes in this KelTec. I thought with the shorter barrel the spread would be a little bit wider, but so far it's remaining tighter and tighter. That's actually kind of impressive because this is 5 yards and we haven't really stepped it up to the next 12.5 yards, so I'm actually kind of impressed so far. Let's put in the next choke. Alright, so here's the next choke. It's a turkey choke, a 0.68 reduction there. So let's put it in the KelTec and see what type of spread pattern we get. So far I'm really amazed with how these are patterning. Let's try it out. Alright, next choke on the docket is a 0.68 turkey choke. Let's see what we got. Alright, so right here is the 0.68. There's 0.69 and there's 0.7. I would say we're still on pace for reducing it. It did spread out a little bit farther. I'm guessing maybe the wad, because it went in a different spot, kind of started tumbling or something. So let's load up the next choke. Alright, we got the last choke of the 5-yard test in the KelTec KSG 12. It is a 0.675. So let's try and see how well this reduces. Alright, let's go take a look. Right up here is the 0.675. Looking back at all these, we did get mild reduction with these chokes out here. With the Stoeger M3000, they kind of plateaued at this distance of 5 yards. So kind of impressed. It did get tighter in my opinion, so kind of impressed so far. Let's do a breakdown. Alright, so we finished with our 5-yard choke test with the KelTec KSG 12. As you can see there, we got a pretty good pattern reduction with some of those, more reducing chokes. Obviously, there is a little bit of a plateau, but I don't think it is as steep as, the Stoeger M3000 test with similar choke sizes. Overall, I'm very impressed with how it reduced that 5 yards. I was expecting to be a lot less reduction with that, 18-inch rail, but it did a pretty good job with the chokes we had. Obviously, the overall tightest pattern, in my opinion, is that 0.675. So I'm pretty impressed with how this is due. Alright, so the next test we're going to be doing is going to be the 12.5 yard test with this shotgun chokes. So be looking for that video next week. And as always, just keep blasting.